And welcome back to Love Your Food. This week we have a really simple and satisfying, warm, sort of hearty recipe for you. This is for a shrimp boil. Now, this is basically putting together a broth, and you're just going to be cooking a bunch of things in it. You can see here we've got a little selection taken out and set aside. Really delicious, full of flavor, and let's get going with our ingredients. We have these beautiful shrimp. They're actually spot prawns, poblano pepper, some celery, some andouille sausage. We're using a lemon, some garlic. We got a fresh bay leaf, some corn, some dried chili peppers, some potatoes, just nice little baby potatoes, some jalapeno peppers, some crab boil, or shrimp boil, and we're going to use some beer. We've got some of this beautiful Bellwoods Brewery Jutsu Pale Ale, and a lot of water actually is going to go into this one, so... now you can use stock for this. We're going to start this with water because we honestly don't want to sort of muddy the flavor, although you can use something like shrimp stock for this. I wouldn't recommend chicken or beef. Now, crab boil, as you can see there, is usually in a bag with perforations all the way through it, and it sits in your water like tea, and it just sort of infuses all the flavor. If some of it escapes, it's not a big deal. We're going to add our garlic in there as well. And then our jalapeno peppers. Now, we ended up not using the poblano pepper for this, but you can. It'll just add more flavor to this. So we're going to add in our jalapenos for a little bit of zing and that nice sort of green peppery flavor. We're going to add in our dried chili pods. Those are Thai bird's eye chilies. And we've got fresh bay leaf, so we want to make sure it's a little bit bruised to get some of that flavor out. If you've got dry, you might just want to snap it in half. And then in goes our celery, and again, we're just going to sort of roughly chop this. If you want more sharpness out of your garlic as well, you can chop it a little bit before you toss it into your pot. And then once we've got all of those in there, we are going to cut our lemon in half. Now, this is a bit of an old lemon. The outside's a bit dry, but that means it's got a really nice sort of sweet flavor, a very sort of mature flavor. It's really nice, actually. We're going to try and get out as many seeds as we can. You don't have to get all of them out, but you don't really want the seeds in there. So we're going to get our seeds out. We're just going to give it a squeeze in there. And try and get as much of the juice out as you can. But once we're done that, we're still just going to toss the thing in. The whole lemon's going to go in as well. And that's going to, as it cooks, really release a lot more flavor and some of the lemon oil out of the skin as well. So we're going to add our water next. We're going to put this on the induction burner just so we have a little bit better control over the temperature overall. And then we're going to add all of our water. You can see the crab boil in bag there, all of our nice aromatic ingredients. And we're going to get that up to a boil first of all. First thing we're going to do. And we're going to cover that just to make sure it boils a little bit faster. Now we're also going to add our beer. Now this is our really excellent, flavorful, and extremely aromatic pale ale from a local brewery here, and just really delicious. Added this amazing aroma to the whole dish. So you want to make sure you're using a beer that has a really good amount of flavor. Going to add some salt in there as well. Give it a little stir just to make sure that all the ingredients are combined in there. And then we're going to cover that and let it come up to the boil. Meanwhile, we're going to get our corn ready. So we're going to cut the ends off. And you can cut these however big you want them, really. Now, we thought in half was a little bit too big, so we're going to cut these into thirds. And you can see here, we're going to cut them into pretty big chunks. Now, we're going to leave it on the cob. We're just going to toss those in a little bit later on. And they're going to boil with everything else. We're also going to cut up our sausage. And again, you want some nice big pieces, and that's going to have a little bit of textural difference from all the other things in there. So now's a great time to check it. You can see it all come up to the boil at this point. Now's a great time to add your potatoes. We're just going to add them whole because they're pretty small potatoes. If you've got bigger ones, you might want to cut them in half. If you've got those little tiny baby ones, you might want to add them a little bit later because they'll take less time to cook. So we're going to add our potatoes, and then we're going to cover it again. And once they've cooked for a little while, we're going to add in, give it a stir just to make sure everything's fine. And then we're going to add in our andouille sausage. Now this is already cooked, the andouille. We just want to heat it up. So we're going to toss that in at this point. And at the same time as we're adding our sausage, we are going to be adding in our corn as well. And this is going to boil for a little while. Again, the potatoes are really going to take the longest to cook, which is fine because they're sort of a blank slate and they're going to absorb a lot of that amazing flavor that's coming from all of the ingredients in here. Now you can make your own crab boil, the spice mix that's in the satchel. You can make your own if you can't get your hands on crab boil. Now you can see everything's boiling in there. It's all looking really, really good at this point. You want to test, once your potatoes are starting to feel a little bit soft and ready to eat, now's a great time to add your shrimp. And you don't want to stir your shrimp in. Basically, we're just going to let the shrimp sit on top. And they're just going to sort of steam once we put that cover back on. They're going to steam on that in really nice hot liquid. And they're going to absorb a lot of that flavor. And we're just going to put them gently on top and not stir them in. This also makes the presentation a little bit nice because once this is done, we're just going to bring the whole pot and put it on the table. Just put a trivet down and put the whole pot on the table. And then those beautiful spot prawns going out on top there. And we put the cover back on and let those steam. And here you go. This is it finished. So once those prawns are done, this is ready to eat. And we ate this with the hush puppies that we made last week. And it's really, really simple. I mean, it takes a little bit of time to boil everything. Everyone should get a plate. Everyone should get a pair of tongs and just fish some of those amazing ingredients. They're all going to have the really delicious flavors that they've absorbed from those spices and the crab boil and each other. And it's really delicious and satisfying. So if you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe. And if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. And remember to love your food.